For the fall 2022 semester, I decided to take the Creative Capstone course. This course is structured so that students would follow a base model, this model being the Golden Ages, and create their own project based off of whatever they want as long as it's college appropriate. As a fashion designer, someone who's always had his hands deep in fashion, I decided that my final project should represent that, of course. Our final project is what is considered the Golden Ages of America and comparing it to that of the UK's during the exact same times. During the exact same periods at the end of the fashion show, I will also be comparing the clothes of these decades to the modern era. There are 6 outfits in total representing male and females of each decades from 1950s to 1970s, which covers a majority of the Golden Ages. Each outfit will be split between UK on one side and America on one side. This will be consistent throughout each outfit. Due to unfortunate circumstances, the clothing had major wardrobe malfunctions, and some of the clothes might not be accurate to how skin tight it would have been during these eras, but the actual clothing itself is incredibly accurate. As the models come up, starting from 1950s to 1970s and thereafter, I will describe the clothing and explain the history of each one and how the clothing got to that point. With all of that out of the way, let's begin with the 1950s female. You just pose as much as you want. Okay. The 1950s female outfit is here. On the left, you will see On the left, you will see the American side, and on the right, you will see the UK side. Let me see. This will be consistent throughout all clothings. After the rigidity of the post-war era, glamour emerged once again in the 1950s. In the UK, women wore more sweeping, full-skirted dresses with fitted waists, which were often decorated with frills and bows. At the same time, synthetic fabric was also being manufactured, which meant that women could wear white and pastel shades, as these were more easily kept and washed. With America and Britain's growing connections, these dresses were also popular in America, but one trend outstood the most in America, and this was pants with full button-up shirts. Let's see. Another favorite attire amongst women in the 1950s was Caprice pants. The Caprice pants of the 1950s had a fit to cropped that we wear that would match what we wear today, just cropped. And here you can see model Taylor wearing a blue 1950s British full dress. Of course, wardrobe malfunctions made it not exact to what it would have been. There is no skin showing usually in British outfits. And then for the American side, especially with working women during these ages, they were of course wearing pants with shirts like this. It was steps towards making America into what it is today with freedom. And then that is all for this model. She can walk back. Here we have the 1950s men attire. It is a half and half. You can come down. As he walks up, you can see that he's wearing only one blazer that isn't actually stitched up. This is because at the time, many men were actually wearing blazers. All of them, even in Britain and in the US. The main difference between them is that many American men at the time wore full button-down shirts, but then the common attire for British men were to wear long sleeve shirts all the way down, and then also you can see that the pants are the same, and that's because they also wore the same alike pants. The main difference was really just the turtlenecks and then the button-down shirts. And then in casual attire, when they wanted to not wear the blazers, it would usually be this exact outfit, just this difference. And as you can see, there's a bit of a wardrobe malfunction with the turtleneck not staying up, but it accurately depicts the 1950s average man. Right. And here we have the 1960s woman attire. Of course, keeping it consistent with the right being UK and the left being America. As you can see here, a majority of, in the 1960s, the fashion between the UK and America began to collide heavily as rock and roll and things of that sort started to go towards America. America was starting to become increasingly influenced by the UK fashion, and the line between them started to become a lot less clear. A thing that became heavily popular in America at that time was miniskirts. Miniskirts were actually created in the UK by Mary Quant. And then it became extremely popular in America as well, which is why the model here is wearing both. And if she turns around, it actually has a design for the UK outfit with a flower pattern. There you go. A big difference between clothing for American women and UK women was simply just temperature. As you can see here, this top, though there was a lot of wardrobe malfunctions happened in this outfit. This was meant to be a crop top for this outfit. And then for this side, it is simply just an over coat just to keep them warm. That's where a lot of the fashion leaned towards in the UK during this time, but it was a lot more bright and vibrant. There were a lot of different movements and revolutions at this time with the women's rights movements, with a lot of hippies and peace protests, things of that sort that just kept on changing fashion more and more, which developed into what we see right here. All right. All right. And as you can see her, the pattern on the miniskirt as she walks down. Here we have the 1960s male attire. This is a clear, stark difference between the American side and the British side. You can clearly see that at this time, that American men started to wear a lot more casual clothes with shorts and brightly colored and polo shirts as well. Turn. And then here we have something that was inspired purely by the Peacock Revolution that had swept the UK at the time. You can even see here that there's a scarf around his neck. It was very feminine-like. During this time, it was men trying to basically show the world that there was no actual line and that men can wear whatever they want. They were breaching the norm. And so as here, this is not a business attire. This is them showing that they can wear what they like. This was happening in both countries at the time. There was mainly shorts in America, though, because of course, the climate difference. And here you go. Yep. And as you can see here by his shoes, the most common wear was still dress shoes. All right, you can go down. America at this time had also become a sports had already become what is known as a sports country. Their athletic wear had taken over. And there you go. That is the 1960s men attire. Here we have the 1970s woman walking down. As you can already see, there's a stark difference in between pants. Here you go. Here is the 1970s American woman attire. It is just full flared, basically like party pants of the sorts. They were very pop and rock at the time. A lot of different music tastes were influencing the clothing. And then as you can see here, a very, very popular piece of clothing for British women were actually jeans. And this also went along with the rock and roll taste that had basically taken over the 1970s. You can see on the top here that it is a split between it's for a crop top, two different types of crop top between the American version and then the UK version. Both of them were created in each Pacific country, and then they had basically combined here to show you it, and then also they had gone to each country and the fashion taste spread around there. And as you can see here, this blazer was very popular in British culture to make sure that the model was very comfortable. This is worn on both sides just because it's cold and things of that sort, but this was definitely more worn in British fashion. And here we have the 1970s man As you can see, the pants here are the same for both countries. That's mainly because they had only a very stark difference in the upper wear because of the rock generation in British culture being heavily influenced by that. Many of the clothing in that generation had turned very dark. And here you go, seeing this. This is something that you would casually see while walking down in Britain and UK. It is mainly like this because of the colder climate. During this time, cultures and everything had begun to spread into each other and collide much, much more. It was a change in the world as people got to express themselves, show as much skin as they want, no matter the country. Yep. And as you can see, he's showing a lot more skin. This was very, very popular in American culture, especially with many musicians and things of the sort doing this. And a lot of the culture had gone towards dancing and things of the sort, and looking sexier, as they would say, looking spiffy in this kind of fashion was very, very common. And this is the result of that. Okay, I'll walk back down. And then here we have at last the modern era. As the internet exploded and many cultures began to spread, as America allowed many people to move into its country, the idea of fashion began to be whatever the person wanted. And now in this modern age, fashion is simply what you want it to be. It is an example and identification of oneself. And here you can see I let the models wear whatever they usually wear. And then to show the only difference between fashion between America and the UK. And here we go. This is the main and only difference in fashion sense now. It is simply just keeping warm in the UK. And here you can see I chose 3 different kinds of overwear, which comes with the blazer that many British men wear. And even in America, of course, they wear it here. We have a woman's blazer here as well. And then over here, Taylor, take a few steps up. We have the usual modern day hoodie. And there we go. This has been my fashion show for my capstone class. Thank you for watching.